Hey, Birkett here, along with Carlos Monarrez. After another Lions loss, Carlos Lions fall to 0-6 on the season, 34-11 to the Cincinnati Bengals today. And look, not much to talk about from a game standpoint for the Lions. They weren't very good. Defense played okay early on, gave up 4 straight scores in the second half, and offensively, they didn't move the ball at all. But I do want to talk about Jared Goff. You wrote a column the other day, great column. Check it out, freak.com if you haven't already.
Thank you. First time
in a long time. First time in a long time. But I think we both agree that Jared Goff is not the long-term answer here. Dan Campbell was asked about Jared Goff after the game today and whether he should be the quarterback going forward, I guess, if that's something that he'll consider changing. He said, no, not right now. I think that's probably right. I mean, there's nothing to gain by going with David Blau, but I don't know. Is there any hope for Jared Goff in Detroit? I mean, can he salvage his career here? Can he still be the guy in 2022 if the Lions somehow can turn things around?
Well, I think that one of the points I made in the column was just that you have to consider the cast around him. And I think that people were kind of saying that in the questions, with the circumstance, whatever. You don't want to say that these guys aren't very good, but when Khalif Raymond is your number one wide receiver, you've got some problems. So it could in 2022, if they do something major to upgrade the receiving core, that could play a factor. But I think we've seen a lot of Goff just on his own that, some wobbly throws, some bad decisions, throwing away a ball in fourth down, kind of weird stuff that it doesn't really matter much who his receivers are, I think. So I don't think so. I mean, more than a third of the season has gone by after 5 games when I wrote that column. Now it's 6 games. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that he could possibly be the future quarterback?
The problem is because I don't, right? I think, for the Lions to get to where they want to go under Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they're going to have to find a new quarterback at some point. He's probably better than what he's shown so far here, right? I still think he's a serviceable quarterback, in the NFL. But the problem is what Dan said today, that you can't properly evaluate Jared Goff because of the talent around him. And I think there's some truth to that. But the Lions don't have that luxury of waiting to evaluate him. I mean, they're going to have the first pick in the draft. They're a top 3 pick in the draft. And they're going to have to look at quarterbacks. And you look at what's going on out here and Jared's inability, the offense's inability to play efficiently, to move the ball with any sort of and with any sort of regularity. And I know it's not all him. No one is saying it's all him. It's him, because they don't have receivers and they're down their 2 best offensive linemen. But at some point, you have to make a decision. And Jared Goff has not shown enough to be the guy that can lead this team.
That's absolutely true. That he's not shown I have the potential going forward to be the guy. You don't have to draft anybody. I'm good. However, he has been good enough to win 2 games this year. He should have won 2 games.
Oh, okay. These are the same excuses you use with Matt Patricia. They are 0-6.
They're 2-4, Dave. You know it in your heart. I know it in my gut. Okay, they're 2-4. They beat the Ravens.
Can I get the salty Carlos Monarrez back, please? The one from 2017. I need that guy back.
Bring Stafford back. I'll be salty. No, that's the thing. Everybody knows the Vikings thing, right? The 2-point conversion in the back to Daryl Hodge. So he's shown moments, and I think I think ultimately Goff is going to be the good transition quarterback. The bridge quarterback to next year if they draft. If Brad Holmes can control himself and not draft 2 offensive linemen in the first round, and maybe go after a quarterback somewhere in there, that would be great. And then either the quarterback sits for a year under Goff, or he takes over at some point during the season, or he starts.
Okay. This is the one problem. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds with draft talk here, right? But the Lions are picking number 1 in the draft. And who knows, right now, there doesn't look like there's a great quarterback option. I'm sure somebody's going to emerge, and there definitely will be first-round quarterbacks.
And they always move up in the draft.
Willis, Desmond Ridder. I mean, we'll see how some of these guys sort of play out as the season goes on. But, Coral, obviously, from down in Mississippi. But
you're already talking draft, aren't you? You can't help yourself.
Like I said, I don't want to get too far into these, but look, if Kayvon Thibodeau is the first round pick.
No, Dave Birkett's draft 1.0 is coming, right?
Soon enough. Okay. Soon enough. Well, I did put Thibodeau from Oregon in my stock up this week just for his fit with the Lions because,
draft watch coming. First mock draft coming this week.
But the point being that if they're picking number 1, which right now they have the number 1 pick, and wins are going to be few and far between the rest of the season. Oregon's defensive end is probably the best player in this draft, Kayvon Thibodeau. That's the guy that most people would pick. The Rams pick is going to be 28. 32, I don't know, somewhere late in the draft.
Right.
So you're passing on a quarterback early. So maybe Jared Goff does get another season. And then are we going through the same thing again? I don't know. I mean, the Lions have so many holes. And to your point about, Brad not drafting linemen, he's not going to take two. But if they take a receiver or a cornerback or a pass rusher or whatever, they need help at all these different positions.
Yes, absolutely. And the question just becomes, if you pass on elite, if you pass on the quarterback and you pass on offensive playmakers, then what? Then what's going to happen next year for Jared Goff? Are we going to hope that Tyrell Williams is healthier? Are we going to hope that, maybe we give Rashad Perriman another shot? I don't know. I mean, Trinity Benson, traded a draft pick to get this guy, and now he's inactive. I mean, that they so far, Brad Holmes has not done a great job of evaluation, I think, as far as surrounding Goff with playmakers on offense. Other than Jamal Williams, he's been a good addition, but it hasn't been enough. So that's the problem. Is you have needs everywhere, but right now we're seeing the offense, which is supposed to be the strength of the team, has kind of been playing second fiddle to the defense. Actually, the defense is playing above its head. So that's where we're stuck with Goff. And don't forget, we act a lot of times like, oh, if it's on a top 10 pick and the quarterback for a quarterback, forget it. It's useless. Aaron Rodgers was like, 24th? Lamar Jackson was 32nd? I mean, you can find, and that guy in Tampa Bay is pretty good. I don't know where he was, but he was outside the first round.
The rare exceptions.
You find them. Your boy, Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall. Okay. Just barely in the top 10 picks. So they can be found and they can be, I think even if you have a developmental quarterback, if it's somewhere in the late 20s.
Don't waste the draft pick. Don't be like the Houston Texans and take a third round pick only to.
No, not third round. I'm saying late first or early. They'll be picking early second round too. So Absolutely. They'll have three of the first, 32, 33, 30, or 33, 34 picks, somewhere around there, right? So you can find a quality quarterback probably in this group. And that's the other thing that's kind of nice is there's not probably going to be a run on quarterbacks in the first 6 picks or whatever it is. So you're going to find guys somewhere in the 10 to 15, 16, 18 range that you may move up if you want somebody that you want. So there'll be options.
I would just say be wary of trading up Brad Holmes in the draft. You saw what's going on in Miami right now. They're 1-5. They traded their first round pick. They still have a first round pick next year, but they traded their first round pick, which right now looks like it could be a top 5 pick. All right. Before we get going, because again, not much to talk about from this game today. We all know it was atrocious. Next week, Matthew Stafford. I know.
Is that next week?
It's next week. Look, there's going to be a lot of talk about Goff this week. There's going to be a lot of talk about Stafford, just because this is really the only game left on the Lions schedule that matters, unless or until maybe they win a game too. But I don't know. You're going to go out to LA, so you covered Matthew for his entire career here. How much do you think it's going to mean to him to play his old team, to beat his old team? What sort of emotions do you think he's going to? Jared Goff didn't want to talk about the Rams today. He said, no, he didn't have anything to say about it. What do you think this game will mean to Matthew Stafford?
Oh, he's been waiting for this game day for a long time. I mean, he may have been waiting for this game for 12 years. I mean, probably slowly finding his way out of Detroit, one day. But I think it's going to mean a lot. I think you're going to see him in there probably in garbage time throwing, 6 touchdowns and just kill